Okay, so here's the thing. I don't really know what I'm doing anymore. I'm sure this is probably something that most people go through, and it's hitting me pretty hard right now. And my anxiety over usually being pretty slow on the uptake compared to other people my age tells me that it's probably something that most everyone else has gone through like 5 or 6 years ago, if not already before. So, the kind of person I am, I've always felt like I've had a chip on my shoulder that I need to be as hard a worker as my dad, which is probably impossible given the life my dad was forced to go through. So, I find myself in a situation now where I'm working myself physically to death out of that misguided sense of obligation to live up to my own expectations of my dad. Which I'm at least at the point now where I realize that is not the kind of career path that I want, because the kind of career path that I want is in the creative industry. More specifically, I want to be a screenwriter, as I'm sure more than a couple of you know at this point. And on the silver lining that I'm trying to see, I at least have a few credentials that I can point to and say, those are great steps. Those are important steps that I have taken now towards that career goal. So the problem is, I've been writing enough now that it feels like when I'm not writing, I'm stifling my creativity. Because it honestly just feels like therapy whenever I'm able to write a story. So, disregarding all my other anxieties about money and a roof over my head and all that stuff, I've found my time being split between those three things of working a manual labor job I hate for money, income, and exploring my two creative interests as a hobby, being screenwriting and streaming. And I'm just unhappy. And it certainly doesn't help that in like the last 5 years alone, I've spent so much time meticulously crafting video game inspired screenplays, only to see a brand new wave of video game adapted movies started to flood the market and actually be pretty fucking good. So it just feels like I'm stuck. I never really thought of streaming as a career for myself. I never tried to approach it from an entrepreneurial perspective or trying to brand myself. It was always just my really fun hobby that I was really passionate about. And during the pandemic years alone, really made me realize how important it was to me. So I don't think it's something that I ever want to stop doing. However, I feel like I've been approaching it from a hypocritical perspective in that sense, where I pour way more time and energy and passion into this thing than I need to for something that is just a hobby at the end of the day. And at this point, that's the kind of time and energy and passion that I would much more prefer to put into screenwriting. But there's another problem with that. It's kind of hard to make money as a screenwriter. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's going to be another writer's strike happening soon for that exact reason. But I've had way too many creatively fulfilling experiences in and around making films to just let that go. So I'm splitting my time between these three things and not treating any single one of them with the dedication that I should be. So it feels like there's three solutions here. So I can either A, drop one of my creative interests, like streaming, entirely, and focus on my manual labor job that I don't care about but pays well, and my one remaining creative interest, which is screenwriting, which I really, really care about but does not pay. I can ditch my screenwriting creative interest and focus on my manual labor job, which I don't care about but pays well, and my one remaining creative interest of streaming, which I really, really care about but does not pay well, at least at the start. At which point, I guess I would unofficially be approaching streaming from an entrepreneurial, more serious standpoint as it being a career. Or I could ditch my manual labor job, which I don't care about, but also pays well. So I would need to start looking for money elsewhere, which would give me more time to focus on my two creative interests in their entirety, being streaming, which I really, really care about, and screenwriting, which I also really, really care about, but aren't going to be paying me well, at least at the start. So that's pretty much the dilemma I've been struggling with for, I guess, like the last 5 months or so, pretty much ever since I decided to outline and write my Street Fighter script in its entirety. And all of this anxiety was pretty much capped off with the announcement that came out recently of Legendary Pictures officially announcing that a Street Fighter live action film is in the works, pretty much a couple of days after I finished my script. For fun, which is not even the first time that's happened. I think I actually finished my Pokemon script like a week or so after the Detective Pikachu movie was announced. So, I don't really know what the purpose of this video is. I'm not confirming anything or deconfirming anything. I just needed to talk, I guess. I'd love to hear what you guys think about any of this, if you guys are like going through similar situations. I just don't know what to do. I feel like I have those three options, and I don't know which one to pick. I guess you could say,
yeah, that makes sense.